Hey guys, it's Erin. How have you been? I've been good, thank you. So today I wanted to talk about acceptance. That was the big word today the message that I received was to really learn to accept those around you and not to try to change them, but just be your authentic self. And by being your true authentic self, that will bring change in others to come up to your level. So instead of going down to their level, you want others to reach up to your level. So as long as you're always growing and thriving and being your authentic self, you're always going to be elevated above others. And you're not going to stoop down to anybody else's level. As long as you can control yourself, control your emotions, always think about be curious, have your curious mind, and try to think about things, like try to figure things out. Like that should be your mind frame in all aspects, to try to determine, okay, what just happened? Like, say you got in an argument with somebody, maybe like a family member or a friend, or maybe something weird happened, like with a relationship, like you just don't understand, like, how did that happen? Like, how did the argument escalate? Or how did this miscommunication happen? Or how did you lose out on an opportunity or something? And really just be alone in your thoughts and try to think about it, and just think logically, and think okay, use your intellect and your emotional intelligence to try to figure out and make sense of what happened. And then you can always try to get confirmation from spirit and ask any questions that you have, but just be firm in who you are and be strong in your power. Don't just let go of your power and be like, yeah, you're right, I was wrong, and just to make things good again. You don't want to be doing that. You want to stay firm in your power and make other people rise to your level. So you can back off your energy towards people, and that shows you don't always have to speak out and speak back against people. You need to just show up in your power, and silence is one of the biggest powers you have. Not to use that as a tool to punish people, but is a fair tool. So it's if you don't agree with somebody that they did something to you or acted a certain way, you can pull your energy back. Don't be as giving, as loving as you normally would. It's just a normal reaction. It's like you don't feel like you want to give them as much love, because you know in your heart of hearts that you're a good person and what you did is right. So you have to hold firm to your own belief system and not try to think oh, maybe I should have been nicer and I shouldn't have done that and I shouldn't have said that. If you were wrong, then you can apologize for your part in it when the time comes. But if they were the instigator, the person that was more of not aware of their part in it, and they played a bigger role, then you do need to step back and let them think about it and process it and come to come to their own conclusion about their own self and their own role in the situation. And maybe these types of people that are so strong-willed and so like self-righteous in a way, like if they don't have self-awareness and they have a big ego that's taking over them, they don't really understand like that they're at fault. A lot of time they will never admit that they are wrong in any way. It'll just kind of be like a standoffish kind of thing. But at least they know, like, okay, don't mess with me. Like, you make your point known that you have standards. You hold high standards for yourself, and you hold high standards for other people. So if they can't match you where you're at, you're gonna pull back and pull away, or maybe for good. So I know we all have like family members that can be in this toxic type of way. So of course, a lot of the times we can't completely pull away from those people, especially when they're our own children, which I'm dealing with this situation. But, you know, kids change, kids grow, and maybe you're teaching them a lesson about humility and being able to admit that they're wrong, and hopefully that they'll come around and, you know, work things out with themselves and grow. You need to give people space and time to grow and reflect and change. You can't force people to change. You have to accept them the way that they are, accept them at the level that they are, especially a parent to a child. Like, we are much more grown and have so much more experience in life than somebody a lot younger than us. So we have to really be more patient and just be that role model, be that firm foundation that other people can look up to. So many people need that. They need that role model that just gives them a sense of, yeah, that's somebody that I really look up to, that I want to behave in that manner. Like I want to achieve that level of confidence and security and knowledge as I get older, or, you know, as I mature. Like that is my goal, to be more like them. And they'll never tell you that. So you have to have the confidence, you have to have the self-awareness, you have to have, and not being cocky about it or being like self-righteous about it, or being, you have to have that humility, that humble attitude that you are no better than them. You were probably worse at their age than you are today. You've learned and grown because you studied and because you learned, and that is up to each individual in order to do that. So you can't just discount people and like ghost them. You have to be a good person, and being a good person is allowing people to be themselves, accept them for who they are, let them grow, let them learn from you, and you will grow and you will learn from them as well. It doesn't matter the age, it doesn't matter the level of maturity. Everybody learns from each other. Everybody can learn every single day. The smartest people are the people that know that there's way more to learn. They'll never be able to learn enough in this lifetime. It's beyond. The knowledge that can be learned is so excessive that no human being can ever learn everything there is to know, even about one subject. It's like, even if they're an expert in that subject, they can always learn more. You're never going to be filled with knowledge on anything, because God is always going to awaken you and show you more. It's just the facts of life. There can be experts telling you, oh, that can never be done, da 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 da. But no, watch, wait. If you have an idea or a goal in mind and you push it and force it, and like, not being forcing, like, but naturally, like, questioning and diving deep into finding answers. Like, for instance, like Elon Musk, like wanting to go to Mars, or wanting the space shuttle or rocket or whatever to not only launch but also to land back and be reusable, which he was told was not possible. Well, he made it possible. So it's like, that's like a challenge, is to try to make things possible. Like the Wright brothers, just to invent an airplane to begin with that could fly a human being in the sky. Not only one, but hundreds of people at a time. So it's just incredible, amazing, the things that we can accomplish in this lifetime. And, doctors are wrong. Psychiatrists are wrong. Nutrition experts are wrong. Like, we learned that in the pandemic. We learned that we can't always trust even the people that are put in the highest rankings of government to, tell us what is right and what is wrong, when they don't even have the answers yet. You can't always listen to an authority and believe what they're saying is true. Especially you have discernment. You have an understanding mind, a curious mind, and you're able intuitively to understand whether somebody is telling you the absolute truth, or is there question in that? Is there, you have to use your discernment in what somebody is telling you and your own knowledge. And you have to research yourself. If something is so important to you, you need to do the research. You can't leave that up to somebody else. And I just had a thought about this coworker of mine in the past. She was having a wedding that was just a very small, intimate wedding with just her and her husband, and I think maybe his children that he had from a previous relationship, and the priest, right? So they were gonna have this small little ceremony, and she asked him to video the ceremony. And this was a very long time ago, when there's like a camcorder, and like they had the tapes and everything. And he did not charge the camcorder, the video recorder. And so she came back and she was so upset. And she was so upset with him. And she said he ruined the wedding, and she couldn't get over it. That's all she could do was complain about it. She couldn't say nice things or think about all the nice things about the wedding. She was probably thinking about that, the whole time. Like, oh, did he charge it? Oh, he didn't charge it. And like, it just ruined everything. And can you imagine that's what you're thinking on your wedding? That's what you're consuming your thoughts with, about blaming the person you're supposed to love, cherish, and devote the rest of your life to. And you're consuming your thoughts, filling your brain with negative energy, negative mindset, negative thoughts about this person. She was the one ruining it. And I couldn't help but say to her when she came back to work and she was going on and on about this, you know, how he doesn't, you know, do things right, and he didn't, you know, listen to her, and he didn't, you know, it was all about him, he didn't do this and he didn't do that. And I couldn't help but say, like, well, if it was so important to you, then you should take responsibility for that as well. So that's not on one person to, you know, maybe it wasn't as important to him. Maybe he was thinking about his wedding vows that he wanted to write to her to express his love for her. Maybe he was emotional about the wedding. Maybe he was fixated on marrying this love. Isn't that like more important for a person to think about than, you know, the recording of it? So you don't know what that other person's mind frame is at that time. You can't. But look at her. She looked like if you're looking at an outside person onto that situation, like me, having emotional stability and confidence and experience in troubled situations and relationships, I could see it so clearly, like, okay, hold on, like, you need to take responsibility for your part in this. Yes, you handed over that responsibility to somebody else, but really, if that is so important to you, you have to take responsibility for that. You have to make sure that it's charged and ready to go and has everything right. If you're so worried about it and it's going to ruin everything, then you need to take care of it. Don't hand it off to somebody else if that's going to ruin your experience. You need to take charge of that, and it's not hard to do. It could have been done, like, you know, in not much time. So it's really a testimony to the fact that each individual has to accept each other for who they are. You have to accept responsibility for you. You have to understand that you are responsible for you in your life. You are responsible for if you live or die. That is not somebody else's responsibility. You have to make decisions that you are comfortable with. If she wasn't comfortable with this man and taking responsibility for something so important, maybe she shouldn't have married him to begin with. Or take the responsibility and, you know, understand that maybe he didn't even think that that was a big deal, the recording of the wedding. Maybe he had other things going on. Maybe it just slipped his mind. Maybe that's part of his character. Maybe he needs to work on that. Maybe you guys needed to be shown that, to be aware of splitting responsibilities and just taking responsibility for things that are so important to you, that you can share the responsibility of things that are big, especially going into a marriage. You know, if you buy an animal together and one person is responsible for that animal and they forget to feed it because they went out of town, you need to step in and you need to take that responsibility and take care of that pet, because it's both. When you're married, things become one and you both have to share the responsibility. You know, you both have to make sure that the kids are picked up, that the kids are taken care of, that you can't leave that responsibility onto one person. So, you know, it's all about your attitude and your acceptance of others and your acceptance of situations that happened. You can't go back in time and fix it and re-record the video because it's done. Like, you can redo it if you want to. I mean, there's ways of fixing things and making it better, and not like having anything ruin you, or, you know, ruin the experience, or, you know, do something about it. It's what's done is done. So try to, you know, learn from it and move forward and try to do better the next time. That's all you can do. Okay, well, I hope this got through to some people out there and made you all think about, you know, making sure that you accept people for the way that they are, and put up your boundaries. Take responsibility for things that are really important to you, that are going to make a difference in your life. You can't just pawn it over to somebody else. And just have a great day and love each other. Bye.